Hello, this is Spellbinder with this article from the American Thinker, October 28, 2009. The name of the article is UN Agenda 21, Coming to a Neighborhood Near You. I've talked about this before. I've told you about this agenda. It's part of the UN program, kind of part of L.O.S.T. L.O.S.T has a hand in this also. You know, the Law of Sea Treaty. This is bad. When you start hearing words, because I know you've heard these words before, like comprehensive planning, growth management, or smart growth. Those are the new words they're using, so they don't say Agenda 21, because a lot of people are waking up to Agenda 21. And like I said, when you hear sustainability, anything, it means population control and the end of society as we know it, because they want to get rid of 80% plus of the people so they can have their new world order without anyone getting in the way of their power structure and godliness that they want. This is how it goes. It says most Americans aren't aware that one of the greatest threats to their freedom may be the United Nations program known as Agenda 21. The United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs Division of Sustainable Development created Agenda 21 as Sustainability Agenda, which is arguably an amalgamation of socialism and extreme environmentalism brushed with anti-American and anti-capitalist overtones. In other words, no free people having their own businesses or anything. Oh no, you're destroying the environment if you have your own business and making your own money and sustaining yourself without having to be a slave. You know how it is. A detailed history on sustainable development definitions and critical actions can be found here. And there's links. I'll have the link to this article so you can check all this out at the end of this video. Section 3 of the Agenda 21 plan addresses local community sustainable development. A Preamble and Chapter 28 discusses how Agenda 21 should be implemented at local levels. The United Nations purposely recommends avoiding the term Agenda 21 and suggests a cleverly named alternative, smart growth. The United Nations Millennium Papers, Issue 2, on page 5, says this of Agenda 21 and smart growth. Participating in a UN advocated planning process would very likely bring out many of the conspiracy fixated groups and individuals in our society, such as the National Rifle Association, citizens militias, and some members of Congress. This segment of our society who fear a one-world government and a UN invasion of the United States, through which our individual freedoms would be stripped away, would actively work to defeat any elected official who joined the conspiracy by undertaking LA 21. So we call our process something else, such as comprehensive planning, growth management, or smart growth, emphasis added. Undoubtedly, residents of any town, county, or city in the United States that treasures their freedom, liberty, and property rights couldn't care less whether it's called Agenda 21 or Smart Growth. A recent example of this can be found in the Carroll County, Maryland, where a smart growth plan called Pathways, another word for it, was drafted by the county planning department. The plan, if enacted, proposed a breathtaking reshuffling of land rights. In other words, you don't have property rights anymore. Rezoning of thousands of acres of beautiful low-density agricultural farmland and protected residential conservation land into office parks. Downzoning of agricultural land to prevent further subdivision by farmers. Upzoning of low-density residential land around small towns into high-density zoning to permit construction of hundreds or possibly thousands of inclusive housing units, including apartments and condominiums. Inclusive housing with replacement of multifamily construction on infill lots with existing residential single-family communities. Endorsement of government-sponsored housing initiatives, subsidies to ensure healthier balance in neighborhoods. Carroll County, Maryland, is one of 1,168 cities, towns, and counties worldwide that are members of the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, ICLEI, Local Government for Sustainability, which is an international association of government or local governments, as well as national and regional local government organizations that have made a commitment to sustainable development. The ICLEI mission statement closely resembles that of Agenda 21. In fact, the ICLEI has special consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council and coordinates local government representation in the UN process related to Agenda 21. Community leaders working together in Carroll County recently defended their county against overreaching small growth initiatives. Richard Rothschild, which is one of the writers of this article, a candidate for commissioner, emphatically remarks, "Smart growth is not science, it is political dogma combined with an insidious dose of social engineering. Smart growth is a wedding wherein zoning code is married with government-sponsored housing initiatives to accomplish government's goal of social re-engineering. It urbanizes rural towns with high density development and gerrymanders population centers through the use of housing initiatives that enable people with weak patterns of personal financial responsibility to acquire homes in higher income areas. This has the effect of shifting the voting pattern of rural municipalities from the right to the left." In other words, if people mostly are left who want big government, want handouts, are people on welfare. Come on, people. These are people who don't have the right knowledge to do anything on their own, so they have to suck off the government to get anything because the government is educated them that way. I said there are actually people who are generational welfare recipients. Generational. Their children's children are now collecting welfare because that's all they know how to do. They drop out of school, they don't get an education, and look at them. They're living off the government nipple. And that's how this is going. The smart growth plans upsert property rights and constitutional rights. Local officials, on behest of state government, revises zoning laws to fit into a smart code zoning template. A massive reshuffling of property rights ensures farmers may lose subdivision rights. Conservation land adjacent to population centers may be zoned into commercial employment centers, and low-density land in the small town is redesigned as growth area and rezoned to accommodate diverse housing, including high-density apartments and condominiums. Yes, they want everyone to move into sardine cans and live. They want you to have a piece of land with a house in the middle, and you have like a zone around you or a buffer between neighbors. Oh no, they want you in a building where the only thing that splits you from your neighbor is 6 inches of wall. Finally, the healthy dose of federal and state-sponsored housing initiative is embraced to ensure communities are properly balanced. The net effect of these plans is to create highly urbanized population centers throughout the otherwise rural counties, while simultaneously limiting the availability of the land for suburban and estate subdivision, as these are considered unsustainable waste of land by Agenda 21 disciples. These people are a bunch of socialists. They believe that everybody shouldn't have anything, and we all should be feudal. We should all be living on the government's land and not our own. The Constitution says we will have rights to have our own land and not to live on a government's land. Clearly, smart growth plans will impact Americans' future choices in where and how they live. Furthermore, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and other federal state agencies may attempt to deny grant funds to states and cities that do not adopt the socialism and socialist smart growth plans, and the population reduction through get you off your land and put you in a sardine can. That way, if a plague breaks out, it's easier to spread it to all of you and you all die evenly. Most Americans will remain unaware of the implications of smart growth and Agenda 21 until after it is propagated in their own backyards. Ironically, these plans are more insidious than the eminent domain ruling by the Supreme Court in the case of Kelo versus City of New London. Under eminent domain rulings, property owners usually receive compensation for their losses. Ooh, but not anymore. Conversely, smart growth municipal plans required by statute enable municipalities to change zoning laws and engage in other regulatory actions that devalue property, restrict off conveyances, and otherwise erode property values without payment of any compensation to the property owners. I'm telling you, this is all part of taking your land away and living in a feudal zone. Smart growth has another interesting unintended consequence. It can disrupt conventional alliances and lead to strange political bedfellows. Rural urbanization plans may raise the ire of environmental groups while simultaneously stirring the wrath of both conservative and liberal residents that want to maintain the rural fabric of their communities. Conversely, developers sensing opportunity may side with government smart growth bureaucrats in support of these plans. Regardless of political orientation, two indisputable facts remain. Agenda 21 is a direct assault on property, private property that is, and rights and American sovereignty, and it is coming to a neighborhood near you. Remember that. We're being set up. You don't know it, but we're being set up for Agenda 21. It's a setup to take away your property rights and put you on government property or state property. You'll become property of the state. Instead of the state being controlled by you, you'll be controlled by the state. Do you hire these people to control you, or do you hire these people to be controlled by you? Until next time, this is Spellbinder with this very interesting article on Agenda 21 and all the other crap that they're sending down the pike at us, S510, L.O.S.T, and the rest of it, to take away everything that we have ever believed in. Like I said, very soon we won't recognize this country as it was at least 50 years ago. Until next time, Spellbinder, be good at it. Good day.